Hi, I'm Gwen from Sacre Brew. I'd like to introduce you to ring-tailed melon. It's a wit beer, and there's a long story behind it. One of my brewery assistants, Alec, he was talking about making a watermelon wit beer, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. It'd be great for summer, huh?" And I said, "Hey, let's do a collaboration and do it here because he's a home brewer." And so we agreed. I tried to order watermelon puree. Couldn't get watermelon puree. I prefer puree because it's still fruit. It's processed minimally, and it's just easier to ferment, and it's also aseptic, so when you add it to the fermenting beer, it doesn't contaminate it the way it might with fresh fruit. And we're talking about a lot of fresh fruit, so there's a lot of potential for contamination, and I'm kind of a freak about that, so I only do few purees unless they're like dried fruits that I can put in the boil. That's a different story. So they didn't have few puree, so I was able to get watermelon concentrate. And actually, I didn't even order it. They just sent it to me, and then they demanded payment. So I was like, fuck. All right, I'll just fucking buy it. Just leave me alone. So here we go. Anyway, so fruit is a pain in the ass because fruit contains a lot of simple sugars, which are great because the yeast just eat it all up right away and convert it to alcohol. No problem. But fruit also has some really complex sugars that are harder to metabolize by the yeast. So they kind of stick around for a while, and then slowly over time, the yeast break them down and convert them to alcohol. And when they convert sugar to alcohol, they fart out carbon dioxide, which carbonates the beer. So this is a pilot brew because it's an experiment. And if you're so inclined, and if you're brave, go ahead and buy it, but otherwise don't. You can only get this at the brewery from me because I need to explain this to you. And not everybody's going to explain all these long stories about my beers. So come to me, you'll get the real deal. And if you still want to buy it, you're welcome to take it home. I had a bunch of people taste test it, and they loved it. They thought it was great. I was like, "You really think this is, sellable?" And they're like, "Yeah." But then again, they were getting it for free. So that's going to make anybody a bit more responsive. Okay, so get it cold. That reduces its carbonation. And it's not like a bomb or anything. Sometimes it might just start to come out. You can see it coming out now, right? So you gotta get the glass ready to pour. I've got my Hoo Garden wood beer glass, and whoa, look at that, it's mostly foam. It's okay, the foam will magically turn into beer. You just have to be patient. So in the meantime, have another beer, and everything will be fine. I'm gonna drink this beer while we wait for that to go down. All right, it's only been 3 minutes, and this beer, you've got a decent amount of beer here. It's very pale. It's supposed to be cloudy. That's very characteristic of a wit beer. There's nothing wrong with it. The yeast that's used is a Belgian wit beer yeast, and it's low flocculating, which means it hangs around in suspension, and it makes the beer cloudy. And that's one of the attractions of this beer. It's like drinking a cloud. Okay, we're talking about carbonation and the extra carbonation from the sugars in the watermelon. So you need a spoon and just give it a stir. There are 3 ways to reduce the solubility of carbon dioxide in a liquid. One is to reduce the pressure. So when you open a plastic bottle of soda, it goes psh, because the pressure has been relieved from this pressurized thing, and then all this carbon dioxide comes out. Another way to do it is to heat it up. That's why warm beer foams over more than cold beer. And the third way is by agitation. So you can stir it, and that releases a lot of the carbon dioxide. if you don't do this, it's gonna be really, it tastes really good. Actually, it's a delicious beer, but it's gassy as fuck, and you're gonna be like burping and belching your brains out. And it's just, that's unpleasant. And, if you're on a date or something, it's going to be really embarrassing, and it's just going to ruin it. So give it a stir, and it'll get it back down to the proper carbonation level. Smells good. It smells a little bubble gum, a little tiny bit banana, very fruity. Flavor. Very fruity, not watermelon, just kind of generic fruity, kind of a little bit of bubble gum too. It's got a nice tart finish. It's gently tart, very thirst quenching. It's too bad that we're not in the middle of Indian summer right now, because this would be really good on a hot day. But I guess we can kiss that goodbye till next year. And then, if we're lucky, we might get some warm days again. But this is England. So it tastes really good. It's a pilot brew, experimental. If you want to buy it, come to the studio. I've got plenty of it. I'm not gonna put it out there because it's just too complicated to explain to people, and not everybody's gonna watch this video. So another thing I want to say, even though there's watermelon concentrate in here, a ton of it too. And there's like pictures of ring-tailed lemurs eating watermelons and hanging from floating watermelon clouds. This doesn't taste anything like watermelon, because I tasted the concentrate and I was like, this doesn't taste like watermelon. It's just kind of like a sweet syrup. So I was really disappointed. It wasn't even pink. It was like this brownish, golden brown color. So I thought maybe, if I used enough, it would make it pink, but no such luck. So watermelon is kind of a downer in the brewing world, as far as I'm concerned. It's just pointless. Unless you use fresh watermelon, like maybe in a homebrew batch, a small batch, where the quantity that you have to like cut and, use isn't going to contaminate your beer, because you can do it quickly enough, because you don't need that much. So I won't. This is my last foray into the experimental watermelon thing. But this is a nice wit beer. It's Pilsner based, so it's very fine. It's got malted wheat, but it's also got torrefied wheat, which is wheat that's unmalted wheat that's puffed up by heat, kind of like breakfast cereal almost. It's got rolled oats, unmalted rolled oats too, for just like this really creamy mouthfeel. And it's got some sour malt, some German sour malt, which is called acidulated malt, which gives it that tartness without introducing microorganisms. So that's a story of ring-tailed melon. Come by and see me. If you want to buy some, we'll talk.